Hello aqua friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and today we are going to do this beautiful backlit swan. The water is lovely. There's so many beautiful corals and pinks surrounding the swan that I was really attracted to this reference photo. So here are some of the colors that I will be using: ISO yellow, deep quinacridone scarlet, and transparent pyrrole orange. I'm also going to use manganese blue, Persian blue, and phthalo blue red shade, indigo, and neutral tint. I will be using a little bit of bleed-proof white and a nice 1.5 inch flat brush, my size 12, 8, 6, and a lifting brush. And I am using Arches or the Honeymoon Collection series. Are my two favorite watercolor papers to use. So instead of masking out the swan, which produces really hard edges, I am just going to paint around the swan. We're going to do wet on wet background. And our first layer on the water. So the undertones are those beautiful corals and peaches, and I am adding that to all the warm parts that I see in the water. Now I am coming in with my lightest blues for the top part of the paper is where most of the light is. Always working from light to dark. This is the manganese blue that I'm using. I notice I'm skipping over areas, making sure that I leave spaces for that coral to peek through. Increasing the color towards the bottom where the value changes to darker. And then I'm coming in with my phthalo blue red shade and getting these darker colors in. The paper is still wet, and so our brush strokes are nice and soft and they're bleeding together very wonderfully. So that is it for the first layer. After we let the paper dry, I'm re-wetting it and I'm coming in with those same colors to brighten up this background. Because the water is so pretty, I really want to show all those beautiful coral tones. Now the shadow underneath him has a lot of very warm yellowy oranges. I'm using my transparent pyrrole orange to start off this very dark shadow area, and then I am going to drop in the indigo. So the blue and the orange, they cancel each other out and they produce a really nice shadow color. And then you still have the bits of oranges that shine through, that glow through, that give it a really beautiful natural looking shadow. The very darkest areas on the water, these fine dark lines, I am using my indigo. If we zoom into the reference photo, you'll see all these tiny lines, these very dark lines that I am drawing. This is wet on dry watercolor technique, us adding in all the shadow parts of the waves. Now I'm using a lifting brush to get those sparkles on the water. There are a few sparkle spots of the white of the paper pretty much showing through here. And then for the tiniest areas, I'm bringing in my Dr. Martens bleed proof white. So just matching the water in between those very tiny areas around the swan. So with my first layer on the swan, I am going to be working wet on wet. So we're wetting him completely. And then I am going to be dropping in my oranges and pinks around the silhouette of the swan to get this backlit effect. Now the main part of his body is very cool in color. And with the same colors basically that I've used in the water, I am going to use on the swan. So I'm building up these colors slowly. As my paper dries, the brush strokes are becoming more visible. I am applying some darker colors of the blue. And to soften those areas, you could just have a very damp brush and always paint in the direction the feathers are going. Once that first layer dries, I am coming in with a very watery mixture of my cool colors and drawing in those feathers. Always painting in the direction that the feathers are going. So I'm coming in with my blues and I am doing the same thing, working wet on dry with these tiny brush strokes to make the feathers of the bird. Now his beak is very vibrant and glowing in this picture, so I'm mixing my colors together to get a very vibrant peachy orange. I'm gonna let that dry, and with my neutral tint I'm going to draw in his face. Now to get this glowing effect, this very soft effect that is happening because he's being backlit, I am lifting up to get the white of the paper, and it just leaves behind a very hazy halo effect that really makes the swan pop against the background. So all these brush strokes look very disconnected right now because there has to be a lot of lifting involved to get this effect. So I'm just using a damp flat brush, and I am going through and softening up my brush strokes and lifting paint off to get this halo that we see in the reference photo. Adding in some shadows. Sign your painting and you're done. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you like my artwork, please subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss any tutorials. I will see you next week.